Hello and welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel, whatever it may be. My name is Kidology and I make videos about anything and everything to do with modern life and modern people and society. So if that's what you're interested in, do think about subscribing, and let's just get into this video because it's quite an interesting one. This is a very impromptu video, so I do apologize for it not being scripted, but sometimes I just like to do this sort of very spontaneously, and this is it. I was, shall we say, perusing Twitter at all odd hours of the night, and I came across this story on the New York Post. And so I clicked, and it was about this influencer, a influencer from Eastern Europe who in short, she has sold her love, her digital love, for the equivalent of $250,000 US to an unknown mysterious buyer. And a perk of that is that this said buyer can go on a physical date with not her as in her in person, but with her persona, who I assume the real individual that she is going to embody on this actual physical date. But nonetheless, I have some thoughts on this, and I'd be very interested to hear others' thoughts, because it sort of stems from an interest that I have in NFTs, which non-abbreviated means non-fungible tokens, and I'm not going to go too much into it because I've already written a whole script all about NFTs and my thoughts on it.
Recognize this photo? A then 4-year-old girl smiling at the camera with a house burning to the ground behind her. The so-called disaster girl? Oh, she's smiling now after earning nearly $500,000 in an online auction for the original photo.
So I decided to go onto this influencer's website. Her name is Marty Renty. On her webpage it starts, "No one ever thought it could be done until I did it. The real digital love crafted from my DNA." So who is Marty Renty? Well, Marty Renty is the online internet social media persona of a 26-year-old Polish influencer called Marta Rental. One thing that I did find interesting is that, at least on YouTube, she goes by the name Marta Rental, which is her name in the physical world. She has just under 200,000 subscribers on YouTube, but I don't think that's her main platform. She's on TikTok and Instagram. Based on the pictures of herself, I assume that she is well known on Instagram in particular beauty spheres. So this influencer makes a very interesting distinction between her physical self and her online persona. The thing is, I understand the distinction between having an online persona and being who you actually are in the physical world. We often don't distinguish between the online world and the real world, and oftentimes we try to present the one as being akin to the other and vice versa. However, this goes into completely uncharted territory when you bring money into it, and when you bring money into it in such a way that it completely defies all understanding, and in this at least represents something quite effed up, in my opinion. This is what you will find if you go to her website. My name is Marty Renty. It's not my real name though, it's the digital version of it, coming from the parallel world where the internet is my stage. In the physical world, I'm officially called Marta Rental, and I'm a regular girl from Poland. I always wanted to become the first woman who did something innovative, something that would be described in history books. I mean, in this day and age, I'm quite happy to call Heat magazine a history book, because I mean, yes, I don't feel this is going to be something that's going to feature very prominently in the universities, but who knows? There's got to be a PhD student out there somewhere. I can almost see my face there Love is the desire to become whole again, and for that purpose you always need the second half. Even digital things must submit to the everlasting laws that never change. So today I want to announce in front of the whole world that I crafted my digital love in the form of a singular DNA NFT of Marty Renty. If I am to become digitally complete, I need to find someone who'd want to share this DNA with me. It can be anyone who's crazy enough to travel with me to this infinite galaxy of digital emotions. How about you? Let's write the history together. Right. I mean, yes, we can make jokes about this and everything, and I think that is just a coping mechanism. But if we're going to be serious, because I feel that the majority of us are on the same page here in terms of thinking how ludicrous this is. But in it being ludicrous, that doesn't take away from the fact that this is actually really happening. And the fact that this is really happening is, for me at least, I find it quite, societally speaking, heartbreaking. Modern love is such a brutal, unrealistic, and increasingly superficial thing, in which I actually really wonder what it is going to be like for our generation, sort of Gen Zs and millennials, when we are in our 50s and 60s, because the way that things are going and the way that life is being presented to us, and love and what people find attractive in a person, everything has been reduced to sexuality, and in that to pure and the physical. If I'm going to take her seriously for a second and assume that this is not about money and clout, which it obviously is, but in playing devil's advocate, surely if, as she said, or whoever's written this on her behalf, love is the desire to become whole again, and for that purpose you always need the second half. This presents that very idealistic notion of love, sort of the love being about finding somebody irrespective of wealth or looks or all those very important things, and being just swept up in love with someone, and that person being your soulmate. If you want your digital equivalent to endorse that or to be that, then surely money shouldn't feature. Surely that shouldn't be something that you are selling. So on her website, she has also got different tiers of this DNA, different, I suppose it's characteristics that you can invest in. There's the favorite NFT, emotion NFT, and relationship NFT. So the relationship NFT, this is the first ever love NFT based on digital DNA of Marty Renty, symbol and the beginning of the new digital era. The holder of the only one Marta Renty's love NFT will have full rights to her digital love. Moreover, he will be invited to a one-on-one dinner with Marta Rental in the physical world. Will heart follow what technology advise? And this individual will get a digital note of authenticity. Goodness me. She's also got different tiers of membership. On her website, she additionally defines the NFT. More and more fragments of our daily lives start to have their digital equivalent. Small talks in trains become phone calls, and phone calls morphed into messengers. We used to have analog pictures only. We now have them mostly digitalized. Long-distance relationships were never that thinkable and became possible mostly because the metaverse reality draws us in such a gentle and seductive way that we didn't even notice that our lives became parallel. By crafting my digital love and other emotions, I'm only naming a thing that already exists, but no one seems to notice. I would disagree. Physical love, platonic love, and digital love may be different, but each one is real in the same way all our thoughts and feelings are. And digital means eternal, like for real. People are passing away, but whatever remains, photographs, souvenirs, old letters, ignites the memories of those who are no longer with us. And what's now being digitalized will stay with us till the end of the world. If I manage to successfully mint my digital love and find my second half, then why shouldn't other feelings and emotions just follow? Overall, androids do dream of electric sheep. And this is why all the digital NFTs have to be true as long as they have my DNA encoded in every fiber of their blockchain existence. Right, if I'm going to be very nitpicky here, I would say that this is a contradiction. She's saying that there's a difference between martyr and martee, which means that there isn't an equivalent. So to say that more and more fragments of our daily lives start to have their digital equivalent is disingenuous, in my opinion. I do think that this just shows how absolutely flawed and Rental told Insider selling her love was more than just an unusual way to make money or consolidate her place in history books. She believes it makes a statement to other women about their autonomy. For me, selling digital love is empowering for women because we can love without compromising our freedom and individuality. Digital love is transactional, but so is marrying a man just because he is wealthy and stable, right? What I find very annoying about this argument is that as soon as you just put the stamp of, oh, it's female empowerment, you can't really say anything against it without sounding like a complete and utter bigot. The thing about this idea of love, irrespective of whether you marry somebody for money or because you actually really fancy them, committing yourself to someone else requires compromise. You can't have full individuality, full autonomy, just thinking about yourself if you are going to be in a long-lasting, meaningful, and by that I mean truly meaningful and impactful relationship with another individual, another human being, any being. If I have a dog, I'm going to have to make compromises. My individuality is going to be compromised. I'm going to have to pick up poop. I'm going to have to take it on walks. I'm going to have to pay for its medical fees. That is inevitably taking away some of my individuality and autonomy. But does that make me less of a woman? Does that make me less of an autonomous human being? No, because I gain something more, something that I value more than just myself. I gain the love and affection of that dog. I gain the trust of that dog. I gain the emotions which come from having something love me unconditionally and show me the kind of care that produces all the endorphins and joy that I'll get from this dog. I hate, absolutely loathe this argument and this position, this notion that autonomy and individuality, and in that this undertone of happiness, is significant only insofar as it has a value on it and only insofar as you define it for yourself. Toxic individuality is not compatible with love. If this is the case with digital love, then let's have digital children, let's have digital pets. Long-distance relationships were never that thinkable and became possible mostly because the metaverse reality draws us in such a gentle and seductive way that we didn't even notice that our lives became parallel. Yes, long-distance relationships weren't thinkable because, well, there wasn't the internet, and also a lot of relationships, it depends on how far we go back in history, but a lot of relationships were just arranged, and also you sort of had a smaller pool of people when we didn't have the internet and globalization. I mean, you only had sort of the local gals and guys in your community, in your village, in your town. There's nothing transcendental or significant about it at all. By crafting my digital love and other emotions, I'm only naming a thing that already exists but no one seems to notice. So this is where the metaphysics comes in. So she got this idea to commodify her digitalized emotions into NFTs via an artist, an Italian artist called Salvatore Garreo, pardon my pronunciation, who has auctioned off, I believe, 2 invisible sculptures. The buyer gets a stamped certificate in return. The sculpture are installed in front here, in that block. Above the white square space is titled Buddha in Contemplation. You don't see it, but it exists. It is made of air and spirit. There's also undertones of this just taking mindfulness and spirituality and commodifying it. It takes something very genuine, very meaningful, such as Buddhism, and the spirituality and spiritual meaning that it has for so many people in this world, and just commodifies it and just turns it into something that can be sold. And that is another thing altogether, and that is sad, because I do think that this martyr individual has taken sort of a metaphysical concept in order to justify what she's doing. And I think that this has undertones of Buddhism and of spirituality in general. And I think this is just something that is regrettably happening in largely modern societies. Just as music, song, or prayer help us to see what we don't see, so even a title is enough to make us see and perceive an existence. I think what this all boils down to, for both the seller and buyer of an NFT and just the entire marketplace surrounding it, is the fact that you can have exclusive rights to something. You have sort of made your immortal mark in the digital realm. And I think this is something that we all try to do in the physical world as well. We want to be remembered in the physical world, whether that be through a bloodline, through creating some artistic piece, what have you. And now the digital age and the internet has, at least in my opinion, stripped that away. We seem to not have any control. And I feel that this is just one of many ways for individuals to try to claim control and to express that very, very normal human emotion of wanting to stand out, wanting recognition, wanting to be seen as original, as Marta or Marty said, wanting to make it into the history books. I think because this marketplace of NFTs is so lucrative and it's also non-fungible, which means that the value of whatever is sold, it's completely independent. It cannot be compared to something. It cannot be exchanged for something else. It's purely based on it alone. And this is the thing with the internet. Everybody's trying to do something more, and you have to do things like this in order to stay relevant or to become relevant or more relevant. Her audience, who are young Polish teenagers, are seeing this, and I think for any young person it's very difficult to differentiate between the real person and their online persona. But anyway, thank you very much for watching this very sporadic video. I very much appreciate your time. Do let me know what you think in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye for now.